Professor Kibwana, who was among us, has gone to another appointment, but the statement has his signature, so we are very much together. So today's address, we are calling it the People's State of the Nation Address, because pursuant to Article 132, Subarticle 1C of our Constitution, once every year, the President shall report in an address to the nation on all the measures taken and the progress achieved in realization of the national values referred to in Article 10. And if you want to know what those values are, it is devolution of power, it is about the state of human rights, rule of law, it's about what measures they are taking, the government is taking, to ensure that Kenyans have basic needs. I will not read for you Article 10, but I am directing you where to see what ought to be in the State of Nation Address. He is also supposed to publish in the Gazette the details of the measures and progress under paragraph 1, submit a report for debate to the National Assembly on the same. As you know, the second year finished on the 13th. Today is the 17th. While they take their sweet time, we are here to give the People's State of Nation Address. Fellow Kenyans, today we stand not merely at crossroads, but at the precipice of a profound danger. A moment that demands our courage, our unity, our unyielding resolve to reclaim the destiny that is rightfully ours. The heartbeat of millions echo with the same question: how did we drift so far from the noble aspirations that birthed our nation? More importantly, how do we steer this great ship back on course towards the promise of liberty, justice, and prosperity for all? It is no longer sufficient to whisper our grievances in hushed tones or to point accusatory fingers from the shadows. The Constitution of Kenya, in its first article, bestows on us, the people, sovereign power. The sovereign power to shape our nation's fate. Leadership is not an emblem of authority, but a mantle of service. We must therefore ask with unwavering conviction, who among those in power today truly serves us? And how do we, the rightful stewards of this land, reclaim what we have lost? The state of human rights and civil liberties. A government's foremost duty is to safeguard the welfare of its citizens, and especially their fundamental rights and freedoms as provided by our foundational principles in Article 10 and the Bill of Rights. The Kenya Kwanza administration, during the recent Gen Z protests, through use of security agencies who included snipers, trivialized the right to life by the wanton killing of peaceful and armed protesters, mainly the youth. Over 60 people, according to the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, lost their lives. Over 60 others still missing, hundreds injured, some gravely, with close to 200 hospitalized. The unprecedented falsification of official records at the city mortuary in Nairobi at the behest of security agents and refusal by the authorities to give accurate accounts leave the nation in darkness as to the actual numbers of the dead or the injured or the forced disappearances, abductions, as well as arbitrary arrests and illegal detentions, which have become the order of the day. The case of the abducted persons, who include the Langton brothers Jamil and Aslam, and Bob Jaggi, which is now before the court, is a sad reminder of this. These murders, abductions, arbitrary arrests, harassment, and intimidation, including of the media, are all instigated to deter Kenyans from exercising their human rights and civil liberties, and especially the rights to protest and picket. They are the Ruto administration's response to the peaceful Gen Z protests. Today, protests have virtually been outlawed by the unconstitutional actions of the regime of setting up police to obstruct and unleash brutality, arbitrary arrests, abductions, and murder, instead of respecting and protecting human rights and civil liberties and facilitating their enjoyment by citizens. The Kenya Kwanza administration obliterates and violates these rights. We must not accept it or even acquiesce in this abrogation of our rights and calculated assault on our constitution. Corruption and impunity. Remember, Article 10 talks of transparency and accountability. The corruption is a venom that courses through the veins of our society, poisoning every institution it touches. The Auditor General estimates that 1/3 of the budget, approximately, which is close to 1 trillion, is lost annually. This is not merely a statistic, it is the stolen dreams of millions. The unbuilt schools, the unstocked hospitals, the unpaved roads, the education of our children, and much more. A conviction rate of 12.7% for corruption cases is a travesty of justice. It sends a chilling message that those who rob the public coffers do so with impunity, shielded by networks of complicity. The recent scandal involving 17 billion Kenya shillings in fraudulent fertilizer contracts, also known as the fake fertilizer scandal, underscores the brazenness in which the corruption is conducted. Our criminal justice system has failed us, and so has the Ruto regime. We must uproot this cancer with determination and vigor. It demands not only robust legal frameworks, but a cultural shift, a collective repudiation of graft in all its forms. The fight against corruption is not the responsibility of a few, but the duty of every Kenyan who yearns for a nation where integrity reigns supreme. This cannot be achieved under an administration that makes every effort to undermine the justice system by orchestrating withdrawal of economic crimes cases against the ruling elite and their cronies, or the undermining of such cases by the prosecution failing to present readily available evidence to the courts, like failing to call witnesses. Cases of land grabbing are also on the rise, with both private and public land being targeted. The state appears to be under the control and capture of corruption cartels. The state of devolution, a promise unfulfilled. When we embraced the 2010 Constitution, we ignited hope and belief that governance would finally be brought to the doorsteps of every Kenyan. Devolution was our collective pledge to ensure that no voice would go unheard, no community overlooked. Yet today, that beacon flickers perilously, threatened by those who seek to centralize power and silence those at the periphery. Article 174 of our Constitution envisioned devolution as a vessel for democratic and accountable governance. a means to enhance public participation, and a bridge to unify our diverse nation. However, the stark reality confronts us. The Kenya Kwanza government has systematically eroded this foundation. The Controller of Budget's recent report is a glaring testament to this betrayal. Only 52.3% of allocated county funds have been dispersed. Our counties are starved, their services crippled. In Kakamega, the county's referral hospital shelves lie barren, depriving our people essential medicines for months on end. This is but an example of the health crisis in the counties. The pledge by Kenya Kwanza to increase funding to the counties has been discarded, leading to the current stalemate between the county governments and the national government over Kenya shillings 20 billion. This regime finds it easier to defund counties, affecting services to over 54 million Kenyans, rather than reduce the wanton spending by the ruling elite. This is not mere negligence. It is calculated subversion of our constitutional rights, the push to reconcentrate power at the center. It's nothing less than an assault on democracy, a brazen attempt to reverse the hard-won gains of devolution. We must, with every fiber in our beings, defend this cornerstone of our constitutional order. Let it be known, any endeavor to dismantle devolution is an affront to the will of the people of Kenya and shall not be tolerated. My brother, Dr. Mukisa Kitui, takes over from there.